Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in to the Superhuman Garden YouTube channel. So today we're going to be talking about you want your garden to get going, but you're off to a late start. So I'm going to give you some tips that'll help you kind of speed the process to getting your garden up and running, especially if you're going to be planting your own seedlings, okay? Now, the first thing that I would say is you want your seed growing tray to be in a warm area, right? So this is going to help speed that process up. Unless you're growing something like spinach, or I think cilantro is one of the herbs that needed to be cold in order to generate. So a lot of those herbs can generate in cooler weather. So this would be excluding that, but we're going to be planting some leafy greens. So, mustard greens is one that we're going to plant. We also have different kales and whatnot. So that's tip number one, warm area. So the next bit of advice is going to be, you're going to use rainwater, okay? Rainwater, not tap water, not bottled water, rainwater. Now, rainwater has all the nutrients that your crops are going to need to really get going and start to flourish. Now, one thing I will say is, for me, when I'm dealing with the smaller seeds, I like to go ahead and kind of pre-wet the tray with the soil, all right? That way, any crop that I'm going to be planting with that are little bitty seeds aren't going to go all over the place. Now, one thing to remember, when you're collecting your rainwater, you want some sort of net to be covering it as your bottle, whatever you're using to collect the water, is collecting the water, because there will be bugs and gnats and things that'll try to hatch their eggs in the water. So you want to make sure you have some form of protection as you're collecting the water, okay? So that's very important. So we're going to go ahead and start to pre-water our seed trays, again, because we're going to be dealing with some very little seeds here. So we want to make sure we get that pre-watering process going so the seeds won't just go all over the place. So I kind of like to have some order, unless I'm just kind of throwing the seeds out there like we did in the previous video, if we're going to be doing like that self-planting method. So I like to go ahead and get that pre-water process going, okay? So the next tip that I have for you in order to get your garden going quickly is you're going to need one of these tops to go over your seed trays, okay? Now, what this is going to do is help keep the humidity inside. It's going to have all the moisture inside of your seed trays to make the seeds go ahead and generate quickly. Usually for me, with the smaller leafy greens, after like 2 or 3 days, I noticed that, the seeds are already popping up, okay? So you want to make sure you have that top on there nice and secure. You don't want any air really seeping in there, because all of that humidity is going to help really generate your seedlings pretty quickly, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start with our first, which is going to be the mustard. So this is the India, Florida broadleaf mustard greens. Now, I saw some of these mustards in Florida last weekend before we went on a cruise, and it was pretty hot outside. And usually with the other mustards that I would grow, they would bolt really quickly. So from my understanding with the India, Florida broadleafs, these are not going to bolt quickly if the weather starts to turn pretty quickly, okay? So I'm just going to take some of these seeds, sprinkle them going across here. These are really teeny tiny seeds. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle a couple in each tray. Yep, just a couple in each tray. Because we really want to get the ball rolling on this. I mean, for me, on a lot of these things, it's a really late start. I mean, we've had so much going on, you know, working from home and, you know, having our 3-year-old and our 9-month-old in the house with us while we're working. So, and the next one we got iceberg lettuce. Okay. Now the next step I want to tell you is once you have all of this put together, you want to make sure you have some nice grow lights. If you don't have a greenhouse or a sunny location in your house where you can just let the seeds go ahead and get going. But I'm gonna leave these seedlings right here, let them sprout, and then as they start to mature, I'll have a grow light growing over them. And you want it to be nice and close if you're gonna have a grow light, because if your grow light is too far away, then what'll happen is your seedlings may start off really weak, long and stringy. So again, you want those grow lights to be close. If you're gonna be using grow lights and you're not going to be growing, starting your seedlings in a location that's not gonna be generated by the sun. So this is iceberg lettuce we're going to be planting here. So I'm only going to put a few of them in each one. Okay. So a little bit of iceberg lettuce here, because we don't know, you know, how many of these are going to germinate, I'm sorry, or not. So iceberg lettuce. I really want the iceberg lettuce this time to form those heads. So that's one of my goals for the year, and one of the reasons why I'll probably be growing these indoors, like I mentioned in a previous video, just because I want to kind of control the temperature and not let them bolt as quickly. Okay. Now the next tip that I have for you is once your seedling grows and it shows its first true leaf, and when I say first true leaf, most of these plants are gonna start with 2 starter leaves, right? So I'm not talking about the 2 starter leaves. I'm talking about when the first true leaf comes, you want to put a little fertilizer on them. So I know a lot of you aren't too keen of Miracle Grow, but you want to go ahead and get some fertilizer on them early, especially if you're running behind with, you know, getting your garden started. So after that first true leaf starts growing and it's showing pretty strong, then you can go ahead and put a little fertilizer on it, something light. So not anything heavy, something light like a Miracle Grow or something like that. I know a lot of you, like I said, aren't too keen on, you know, the different chemicals and whatnot. But if you have your method of having your own way of fertilizing, then that'll work too. So just something light, not anything too powerful and strong. Okay. So those are my tips. So the first tip, warm environment, unless it's something that needs cool weather to germinate. Next, rainwater, not tap water, not bottled water, not room temperature water that has been sitting around from the tap water. Rainwater, 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 rainwater. Remember, you're getting your garden started late, right? So if you're getting it started late, you don't have time, and rainwater is one of the best waters you can use to get that progress going. Okay. Again, you need your clear top. Clear top is really important because it's going to help that germination process speed up. Okay. The next tip, you want those grow lights close after they germinate. So close lights. You want those lights nice and close. And then the last and final tip is fertilizer after your seedlings get their first true leaf. Okay, so fertilizer, something light, not anything strong, just something to get it going and moving. And so for me, I would be looking at a timeline for all of this to really be everything to be in effect for about maybe 7 to 10 days out. Okay, so that's the timeline that I usually have if I'm running behind, and that's the process that I undergo. So let me know if these tips are going to help you out. If you do decide to try these, let me know what happens. And thank you guys for tuning in. We're out. Peace.